Hans Wormhat. I mainly want to talk about one verse from Isaiah, but just to give some context and because I saw other verses that had something at least worth mentioning, I'm going to read from two chapters of Isaiah, chapter 24 and 25, and I just have some things to say. And Isaiah was often talking about end times, and so much of what Isaiah was talking about is matching up with today. And so here are just more examples. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And so, yeah, population hoax. If you look around, earth is mostly empty. I think that the earth has been way more heavily populated in the past, and I think that, like everything, they flip everything upside down. They've inverted everything, and everything that they teach people is a lie. They tell you that the earth is more populated than ever, and they want you to think that overpopulation is a thing. But if you just use your eyes, you'll see that there's mostly empty land everywhere. So how could it possibly be overpopulated? And scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Just mass immigration has been a recent thing going on. Okay, continuing. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied, and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men are left. So that could be, there could be more layers to that, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets, all joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. So here I'll just stop. They're talking about a lot of different things here, but one thing I want to point out is that most cities are in desolation right now, getting destroyed by various riots going on. Beirut there was a Beirut blast. And I also think of the homeless problem. There is a crazy homeless problem right now, tent cities going up everywhere. How are they ever going to get rid of that stuff? It's almost like this is just how it's going to be now. It really does seem like the cities are in desolation. And I wanted to point out here, just because I've seen people talking about how maybe the Golden Gate Bridge is a potential location of a future psyop, and maybe they would pull that from this verse. The gate is smitten with destruction. Maybe they're going to turn that into the Golden Gate Bridge and make that be a part of an end-time psyop. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of the Lord. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare, and upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. So in the end, the firmament is going to open up. That's what they're talking about here with the windows from on high are open. And this happened before in the past. In the Great Flood, they talk about the sky, I don't know exactly how it's worded, but the firmament opened up a little bit, and so did the deep. And so the earth is also going to shake. There's going to be an earthquake like no other. And mountains are going to be flattened. And you know how they always joke about California breaking off from the sea? It's because that's how intense this earthquake is going to be. California may just break off from America. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall, and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day, that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. So here I just thought, this just sounds like something political, with all the stuff that we have going on now with Donna talking about putting all these people in jail, and this really does seem like something that could unfold in the near future on the political theater. The kings of the earth, I don't know, just throwing this out there, they've been going with this pedo ring thing. What if it comes out that 10 of the leading countries, the leaders are all involved in this satanic pedophile ring, and they get thrown in prison together? That's kind of what this reminded me of, some story like that. Okay, continuing. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously. Isaiah 25. O Lord, thou art my God, I will exalt thee, I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. For thou hast made of a city a heap, of a defenced city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city, it shall never be built. Therefore shall the strong people glorify thee, the city of the terrible nations shall fear thee. For thou hast been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. So here we just had the Beirut blast. So just a little connection there. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible one shall be brought low. So here's why I'm making this video. There's just this connection. And in this mountain shall the Lord of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lees, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering, cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So just the expression face of the covering, face covering, covering the face. And the veil that is spread over all nations. Right now, the mask, it's representing a veil being cast, spread over all the nations. And so, do I think that's exactly what Isaiah was prophesizing here about the masks today? You know, probably not. It's just one of those things where they choose these events in order to represent these ideas in the Bible. I think that it represents the veil that's cast over all of us, and that is mandated. They must teach all of these satanic deceptions worldwide. Everybody's born into Babylon these days, and we all were under that veil until Jesus woke us up. And so yeah, that's also one connection that I just don't hear people talk about a lot. There's been this grand awakening of people, and you can think of it as like the lifting of the veil, us being woken up. And that's like the very last thing that happens before a wedding ceremony. That's like when the bride finally lifts her veil, it's time to start the wedding ceremony. So I think these are all just pointing to this is end times. And so while I don't think that Isaiah was directly talking about face masks here, I still think it's a relevant connection. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Right now we have a physical representation of this, a veil, a face mask, cast over all nations. So, yeah, this is from Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. God bless everyone.